What's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker. This is WPwatercooler, episode number 114. Today we're talking about WordPress plugins that we love and some that we don't. So let's go around the room here real quick, get everyone introduced. We are going to start in alphabetical order with Chris Ford.
Hi, my name is Chris Ford. I'm the creative director at creativityIncluded.com, and I focus on brand and content and design strategy.
Sorry.
And my dog is behaving right now, but I can't promise that'll happen all day.
No problem, Chris. Hey, Chris Lema, how about you, sir?
Hi there, I'm Chris. I blog over at chrislema.com. I'm the Chief Technology Officer and Strategist over at Crowd Favorite, and I run the North County San Diego WordPress Meetup.
Very nice. How about you, Greg? Or Greg, how about you, George?
Hi, I'm George Stefanis. I am the team lead for Jetpack, and I am ready to get some fighting on for favorite and least favorite plugins.
Nice. Greg, your turn. What's up?
I'm Greg Taylor from Marketing Press here in Tempe, Arizona, and looking forward to be here to talk plugins with everyone.
Say Reed.
That was a delivery that was happening. Just want to be clear, the dogs were freaking out. It wasn't that they don't like Chris Ford, because they love Chris.
Why is it so dark there?
My internet wasn't
It's a
working.
personality.
Yes, I'm a dark and anyway, I'm Say Reed, and I do all the WordPressy things. Make WordPress, teach WordPress, preach WordPress at Say Reed Media on all the things. Let's say hi.
And later on, she's going to recreate the Queen video.
Got a boosh.
Steve.
I'm Steve Zehngut.
Is this for WordPress? Is it just
Wow. This is already derailed. How far are we into this? I'm Steve Zehngut. I'm the founder of Zeek Interactive, and I run the OC WordPress Meetup.
Very cool. What about you, Suzette?
Hello, everybody. I'm Suzette Franck, and I am a front-end developer over at WebDevStudios, and it's awesome, and I'm looking forward to WordCamp Las Vegas next month, where I'll be speaking.
Woohoo! Very cool. I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me, Jason Tucker, on Twitter and WPmedia.pro, where I talk about all things video and audio in WordPress. So, let's see here. We're going to talk about our favorites. This is one of those shows that a lot of our viewers and listeners really enjoy because plugins are the thing. That's like, the thing that kind of glues everything together in WordPress. So, let's talk about.
Can we just get George out of the way right now?
Well, let's talk a little. Let's
just talk about it.
Let's talk a little bit about favorites in WordPress first. So, if you go over to the WordPress.org/plugins page, you can actually log in that area there, and you'll be able to see all the favorites that you've kind of favorited within the WordPress repository. You can also look at other people's favorites too when you're actually logged into a WordPress site and looking at your plugins.
Yeah, totally.
I think you're the only person that gives that feature, Jason. Like, I think you use it and you're like, this is a great feature, and everyone's like, what are you talking about?
Jason's the one who taught me how to use it.
I use it all the time.
If you view anyone's WordPress.org profiles page, so for me, I would be at profiles.wordpress.org/George Stefanis. You get a little thing on the left-hand side that will tell you what plugins I've written, a little bit about me, and then favorites, so you can actually see all my favorite plugins listed right there in one place.
No way.
I know, is that amazing?
Oh my God, that's so cool. I wonder if one of George's favorite plugins is Jetpack.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Actually, one of my favorite.
That's right. Yay.
But what's your favorite module in Jetpack? Because Jetpack is a suite of plugins that is awesome.
My favorite feature of Jetpack is actually related posts.
That is a good one. I do like that one because it uses.
But for anyone really curious about Jetpack, about a year ago we had a water cooler devoted entirely to the topic. So apart from saying the fact that I love Jetpack and I run it and use it and all sorts of things, there's all sorts of other plugins that we really should be talking about, and I don't want to hog the limelight.
Come on, that was only episode number 64.
Yeah, a year ago.
How do you have that on
It's right here. It's in his mind.
It
or
is.
somewhere in the search engine.
January 1st.
These are the people that don't use Google. It's so sad.
Who are me and Steve?
Yeah, you and Steve don't know how to use the Googles. So let's talk about favorites.
Crickets.
And if you don't have a favorite, you can load up either George's or mine, and you can go through all those and look at your favorites.
I posted mine too. I have lots.
Oh, I will post mine.
So so let's kind of go through it, and then I really want to get to the not so favorites because that's going to be the fun part. And unfortunately, they don't keep track of the not so favorites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like a this plugin sucks button.
Well, one of the ones that I have liked recently and is actually on sale today because isn't everything on sale today?
It's Cyber Monday.
It is. It's Cyber Monday. But one of the ones I like is written by a guy and a team, but it includes Pippin Williamson, and the plugin is called Affiliate WP. Mm-hmm. And Andrew Monroe and Pippin launched this months and months ago. I don't know if it was launched this year or late last year, but I just don't remember. But it's a affiliate plugin that goes onto your WordPress site. And what's really interesting is some of the add-ons that they've built. One of the add-ons is called Lifetime Commissions. And that's the one that I really enjoy because what it allows you to do is say, if a person comes, let's say I'm working with a client who is selling something on their site, and they put that affiliate WP on the site, if someone comes to the site via an affiliate and buys something, they get connected in such a way that now everything else that person comes to buy over the course of their relationship with the site all gets affiliate credited back to the original affiliate. So that's a really powerful approach to things. It lets you start thinking about lifetime value for a customer rather than trying to just make a quick buck. And I know I have some customers that have really liked it. So Affiliate WP, and particularly the extension, the add-on that's called Lifetime Commissions, is one of my favorites.
And there's a ton of free ones, free add-ons that go with that in the WordPress repro. A lot of them. We'll have links in the show notes for that. So if you don't want to do some searching like Steve or Say, you can just click a link.
Is there a site where I can go search stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let me Google that for you.com.
No, actually, yes. Let me Google that for you.com.
Let me Google your mom.com. My favorite.
Honestly, one of my favorite plugins for years that I've recommended to clients all the time when I was freelancing really has just been Gravity Forms.
Yep.
It's there, it's stable, there's tons of add-ons, it's easy to use. My only real gripe that I have with them is that their menu icon still hasn't updated to match the WordPress 3.8 admin UI.
You're one of those people, huh?
And just so we're clear, if you're evaluating a plugin based on an icon, you should rethink most of the rest of your life.
Well, also, or if the only bad thing you have to say is
I'm going to give us
it's pretty damn good. So that's one of my favorites, and we use that on almost every project. We actually just made a small e-com site where they had simple products, and we used the Gravity Form add-ons. It was super easy to use. The client can manage it. It was perfect. So that's definitely one of our favorites.
Mine too.
Yeah, and on the back end, the API for how they store data and how they manage forms is very well built out. So it's very easy to extend if you want to say when someone submits a form, also submit it to a third-party service. You can just forward those along very easily.
Yeah. Another one that we use quite often and we always recommend to clients is Backup Buddy. So I really like Corey's plugin with Backup Buddy and how it integrates with, I can just have the client back up the database or the full site, schedule it, send it off site, and it just makes things easy. And it's one of those things that when it's set up so that they have a scheduled backup, now the client is not so afraid to push buttons and to touch different things because they know that they sort of have a safety net.
Different things on the site.
Yes.
I like VaultPress for that. I'm fairly in love with VaultPress. It's so
I love
Why don't you
VaultPress
marry it?
too.
It's cheap and easy, just how I like it. Really,
Nice.
It's a plugin, not a date, say.
Did you hear that, YouTube commenters?
Overheard.
You gotta have a backup like you're talking about, but you really need. I kind of feel like for a lot of sites you need to have Jetpack. I love site stats on Jetpack, so you're getting a WordPress.com account anyway, so you've already got it, and then you have VaultPress. It's $5 a month. I don't know. I'm very happy with it. I've had no problems. I've restored sites from it. It's like, and it's going to work, right? Because that's the thing. That's my biggest concern with this, is that with plugins in general, is that, as WordPress core gets updated, the plugin is slower to get updated or, whatever. But VaultPress, you just know it's going to work.
WordPress is pretty awesome.
One of the plugins that I use on every site is Advanced Custom Fields.
Yep.
Yes,
so that's a standard.
Likewise, we do that too.
Yes, that is an awesome plugin. One that's really good with that is what was it? Admin columns. That one is really awesome. It was formerly
CodePress.
CodePress.
CodePress admin columns. Yeah.
It used to be formerly called CodePress admin columns. Now they've rebranded it to just be admin columns. But it allows you to change what columns show in your admin screen.
And that's especially useful if you install WordPress SEO, which is another plugin I used on every site. But if you install that, that puts
have you seen the NS admin that lets you add custom fields to the SEO? What's it called again? The NS automation for WordPress SEO, so you can add your custom fields, so your search engine score. Because I don't use the content area when I use ACF. I just break the page down into chunks of content the client needs to put in. And so my little search engine light always stayed red until I installed, it's like $19. And now it looks through every custom field I have and applies that to my Yoast SEO score.
What's this one called, Chris?
I just pasted the link. It's from Never Settle, and it's called NS Automation for WordPress SEO.
Nice.
Never Settle is a great name for anything, really.
The other thing to note is if you're using WordPress SEO from Yoast, which I recommend, he has other premium extensions like the one for video, and so when you're doing stuff with YouTube, for example, it can be very, very helpful. They'll go through and do the heavy lifting for the sitemap and everything else related to all your videos. So that can be
One thing that's great for videos too is just really quick the featured image content creator. Let me get the name of that one. Automatic featured images from video. So you post
I'm learning
a
a
video.
lot on this episode.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
What I was starting to say was with WordPress SEO, it adds a bunch of admin columns. So the CodePress or the admin columns plugin goes well with that because you can take out all those SEO columns if you don't need them.
Yes, and add your custom fields too, and it's awesome. Hide out there.
Another one that we like to use is I believe it's called User Roles. I think it's by Justin Tadlock, and that really helps us give the client full control of their site, but also kind of lock them out of things where they're going to do lots and lots of damage. So
there's one plugin.
Members does this kind of the same thing. That's what I use.
Yep.
WordPress user role is another one that creates a webmaster user role in between an editor and an admin person, and it's written by I think Devin.
What's the one that actually adds something?
Digitor.
What's the one that adds something called super admin or something like that, so that your client thinks that they're super?
Oh, the one by Nathan.
Nathan by Tyler Digital.
That's awesome, Steve. We should get that for everything, right? Like, you're a super admin. These are your super posts, and these are your super pages, and these are your super images, right?
And you're super press. You're a super client while you're at, right?
They would be happy about that. People would be like, "Okay, I'm super. This is great."
Yeah. It's called super
as far as utilities go, there's also user switcher, which is great if you need to test something out. You're just saying, I can't get in and edit this post. Why can't I do it? It's easy to just swap users.
Oh, nice.
And verify that it's actually working.
Oh, that's cool.
I think that was actually one of John Blackbourne's ones. And then for the more advanced that need to get into and do some like minor checking something out in the database, there's always the adminer, I think it's called, which is just the HTML in your WordPress admin that personally I'm paranoid about, so I uninstall it as soon as I'm done using it. But for someone where I don't have an actual way to access the DB directly, it makes it a lot easier to see what broke, where it's broken, track down issues.
Very nice.
There are two guys out in Boston, Andy Cook and Nelson Joyce, who work for HubSpot, but they actually started or spun up a plugin inside of HubSpot where they're doing kind of their own thing, right? You can imagine this whole HubSpot company is going in this direction, marketing automation and going after all this stuff. And these two guys, kind of set up to do just a plugin for WordPress and focused on that. And it's called Lead-In, and it is a lightweight, easy to use capture tool, right? So it essentially allows you to do lead capture and then some marketing automation after the fact, right? It tracks some visitor movement and everything else. It's pretty solid. The guys are smart. They're continually refining it and adding more to it, and I like it. So you may want to check it out.
Yeah. Well, another one that has come in handy for us when we're taking over sites from other developers or from a client is a plugin called Vice Versa. And what it does is it allows you to switch WordPress pages to posts and posts to pages easily. Because sometimes you have a client that goes crazy making all these posts, but what they're actually creating are pages, and it just causes lots of chaos. So yeah, it's called Vice Versa, and with a simple click of the switch.
Now, Vice Versa hasn't been updated for
I know
it was last updated in 2012. So
Steve, what's the one that you use that does the same type of thing?
P2P, post to pages, does that same thing. It's like P2P, but you can change for everything. You can actually, I'll get the name in a second and put it in the notes, but you can actually switch, for example, from post to product. So if you have a client who set up all their products or something in a post, and then you add, like they didn't know about like WooCommerce or something, and then you add that on there, you can then just transfer all of your posts into products. It works like a charm. It's awesome.
I'm not finding that one.
Yeah, I'll find the link for it. One that I like that's not necessarily related to that I've actually been using a lot on client sites, because again, at the SBDC, I'm trying to give these folks as much of a standalone option as possible without going into any code. So that causes problems sometimes when I'm creating child themes, or when I want to create a child theme, because I don't want to go into the back end and create that. So one I've been using a lot lately for that is Orbeus Child Theme Creator. It's really cool. It makes a child theme right off whatever your active theme is, and then it takes all the exact existing settings, so it's not totally a blank child theme, and then you can modify your child theme as necessary and keep your premium.
What's it called?
Orbeus Child Theme Creator. It's really cool. It's free. It's in the repository, and it works really well. I was skeptical at first, but I've been really happy with it. I've had no problems, so I'm stoked on that.
I know Block has a very similar thing up called Child Themify that does something very similar. I'm not positive about the pulling settings across, but yeah.
And that's not really, pulling the settings across is really handy, because if you're like, hey, your theme's completely outdated, and they've got everything set up, recreating that in a child theme is like one of the worst tasks on the planet. And so just using it, like, it takes all the theme options, no matter what their theme option setup is in the theme. It's pretty cool. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but it's working. So it's just copying all the right fields.
One of those plugin categories that always bothers me the most is a social share category. Everyone comes up with their own version of it, and they try to gunk it up with a whole bunch of extra stuff and everything. And one of the ones I really like the most is called Mash Share. And that one, what's nice about it is that it's a kind of one of those freemium products where you get it for free, but then you can buy a couple different add-ons. So you're not buying a whole bunch of extra stuff that you don't need. You're only buying just specifics. So that's a really great plugin.
I love that one too, Jason. I've used it on a couple recent sites, and the one thing I really like about it is that it's going and collecting those page views and counts and everything else, which normally slows your site way down. Well, it's doing it on the server side, meaning on its server side, so as a service, rather than on your own site. So there's an API connection and link, and it becomes really, really lightweight and powerful to use. So I recommend Mash Share as well.
Yeah, it gives you that mashable looking, how many views, how many shares to the left of it if you pay for a couple of the extra add-ons.
Do they need you to create an account with them to use that?
Yeah, on the
Yep.
they give you an API that you can an API box. You just drop in the API link and it.
George just wants to know so he can either emulate it or buy it.
No, I'm just checking, making sure because like plugins not phoning home without user-informed consent and whatnot.
Oh no,
yeah,
it's
you're
totally
totally-
everything is informed, and you plug in the API key.
Nice.
So it's well done. Another one that's interesting, and I don't know, I haven't seen it take off yet, but that may be a marketing issue. But have you guys looked at all at Conductor, the plugin that Matt Medeiros rolled out that lets you do kind of some page layout as a plugin?
I tried it, and when I originally did the Creativity Included site, I actually had to hire Rob New to get the Genesis grid loop working on it because after 3 days, all I had to show for like 24 hours of work was a waffle pattern in my forehead. And I was able to do the exact same thing that I had to pay someone else to do and spend 3 days beating my head against the keyboard on in like 5 minutes with the Conductor plugin. Like it was, you went in, you did it, it was done. It was pretty awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Chris, you should really stop beating your head against your keyboard.
One of the plugins.
Hitting your
It's
head
right
against,
here, I'm going to have it just tap.
against a waffle.
Party, right here.
One of the plugins I want to mention is called WordPress Social Login. So there's a few plugins that do this that let you log in with Facebook or Google Plus or Twitter or things like that. And I found that this one's sort of the best constructed of the ones that are out there.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be fair if I didn't mention WP Migrate DB Pro.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I feel like you use that all the time.
I'm so dependent on that plugin.
You talk about that plugin like during coffee and shit. Like, by the way, you guys, I've been using DB Migrate Pro again.
So let's
Now, Chris, just
to the migration here. Let's move a little bit to the stuff where
Nice
things we
segue.
don't like. How about that? Let's
We're
talk
gonna
about the
migrate.
plugins that we don't like. So let's make some
Next
menus
gen
real quick
gallery?
here.
Next Gen Gallery.
Next Gen Gallery.
I'll
Next
give
Gen
a
Gallery.
you guys.
plus one for that.
That used to be the top of the line stuff, so cut some slack. I don't use it now, of course, blah, 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 but it was at one time filling a need that we all had, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Don't
would
be mean.
WP Commons once upon a time.
And I've replaced that with Foo Gallery. That's my.
I'm sorry. Did
that's my
you
go-to.
just define something as valuable because at one point people used it and it was helpful, like front page?
No, I just said let's be nice. Let's be nice and not say that it's the worst thing ever.
No
Yeah,
Go
that's
Live,
my
Microsoft Access, DOS.
Right. I mean, I think
You gotta value the past, okay? Otherwise,
Know
we
your
need to
roots,
repeat
say.
it.
Know your roots.
Wow. I
Let's
think we
show
have
you my
next week's
roots.
topic.
yeah.
Um,
The worst plugin out there is the one that's not supported. The one where somebody has problems with it, and you just put something in a forum, and it just falls on deaf ears, and nobody ever answers or responds to it. So I'm not naming any names or anything like that, but that's the worst type of plugin, and I understand
name
it
and
takes
shame. Name and shame.
No, it takes a level of commitment to put something out there, publish it, and to support it. I understand that. But if you are unwilling to support your product, then it sucks for everybody else.
There's this one plugin called Pinkify It. I don't know. Who thought it? Just kidding. I love it. It's great. And then rainbows and sparkles. It's Suzette.
There is actually a real purpose for that plugin. You can use it as a starter plugin to load your own style sheet. It's really good for multi-site.
So, Greg, you bring up a good point. We mentioned earlier the vice versa plugin, but when I went to that page, it said it hasn't, and it says right on the plugin directory, it hasn't been updated in 2 years. That's a red flag.
Yeah, there's
Well,
a tag.
to be
that
fair,
you can
a
look at.
lot of basic plugins that don't need to actually do too much probably don't actually need a change to say, apart from changing the tested up to version.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's like a 5-line plugin, there's not really a need to update it apart from just nominal
That's fair.
things to it.
I mean, I think
change sets.
updating it and showing that it's current is a need because otherwise, it looks bad. The one I was talking about earlier, P-type converter, is the actual new name, and it hasn't been updated in a while, but it still works. So I would really like it if they would go in there and just do the line of code that they need to do and put it into the line of code. That's nice.
So
Well,
let's
you always
there's one.
kind of clench when you try it. You're like,
Last time
"This
Hello
good,"
Dolly
but
got updated.
So let's say that there's one that you use, but you find that they're no longer updating it. You can actually look in the repo to see by searching for adopt-me as the tag, and it'll show you all the ones that people have put up for adoption, where they're like, I'm done with this. I don't want to support it anymore. Here.
That's cool.
So you can go look through that and then
That's
adopt
really
it if
cool.
you want.
So what we have
know
no
about that.
don't like. Let's see. What don't we like? I can talk about themes I don't like all day long.
That's a whole different show.
Speaking of themes, I hate the revolution slider. Okay, you want to talk about that? I want to punch it in the face. How about that? I'm gonna hold
I
back.
apologize for this violence.
I
I
yield the rest of my time to say.
So one of the plugins I don't like is types and views. I know there's a lot of people that really love types and views. I'm not a fan.
Me neither.
I tried it once. I didn't care for it.
I paid for it, and it wasn't my thing. Not all plugins are created equally. You know, sometimes there's a little bit. You have to be a certain kind of person to use a certain kind of plugin.
Now you're insulting people at their core. You're like, you're just that broken plugin type of person.
At the beginning of types and views, I liked it. It was relatively simple, and then they went and you know, this may be a lesson to most everybody who's a product developer, right? They went and added about 7 trillion features to it. That's a technical count, and and then it became unwieldy, right? And the other dynamic is anytime that you are building a new product, any product, right? You want to make sure that you're not introducing so many new paradigms to the product that someone has to get a PhD in your product to use it. And they had created so many different abstractions that it became painful to figure out what was going to actually show up and where. And that becomes just a real serious challenge. So yeah, it's one of those where you kind of go, gosh, you had something good, and then you kind of twisted it sideways.
It's like Constant Contact. They did that. And they added everything under the sun into their product. And
Constant annoyance, you mean?
Yeah. I basically cannot stand any of the Constant Contact plugins or WordPress, you know, the widgets or whatnot, because they're all super weird and awkward, and a lot of them add in like a whole panel where you're supposed to monitor all your stuff, and it's like Constant Contact is too bloated to manage it inside WordPress, and it's really confusing. I've not found a really good Constant Contact widget plugin.
So the other one that I don't use, mostly because I don't use sliders, but if I were using sliders, this would not be the slider I was using, and I found that it was incredibly powerful not only in its articulation of marketing, but even in what it suggested it could do, and yet so difficult to use, was Slide Deck 2.
Knew you were going to say that.
Oh.
Knew you were going to say Slide Deck.
It's one of those where, like, every feature they rolled in legitimately was a feature. Every feature, you know, was promised to work, and yet the amount of configuration to make it work was so laborious, and little things that wouldn't work, and you'd have to keep tweaking. That I just said I don't have time. I'm done.
Yeah, it is.
That was another one I wanted to love, and I kept giving it chance after chance after chance, and it just kept showing up drunk on my doorstep at 2 o'clock in the morning.
If this were the Dradcast, we would name this episode "Drunk on My Doorstep."
Yes, we would.
But
favorite and least favorite plugins, aka Drunk on My Doorstep.
But unfortunately, that is the end of the show for the day. So thank you very much for all of you being on the show today.
Keep tweaking,
your
guys.
favorites
Keep
and your
tweaking.
not so favorites. Make sure you go to the website WPwatercooler.com and click on the links there and hit subscribe. And also, if you're on YouTube, hit the little thumbs up button, because that usually makes me happy. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right, see ya.
all right.
Funny.